What's going on, everyone? Conservative Video Dipper. What's the difference between a public figure, private figure, and a limited purpose public figure? So I'm going to read off the definitions for you guys so you understand. And then we'll answer some general basic questions. A public figure. Definition: a public figure is someone who has achieved widespread fame or notoriously either or has been seen though through their actions or through their association with a public controversy. This can include celebrities like A-lister celebrities like Tom Cruise, Sandra Bullock, all those other people, politicians or individuals who have achieved this for their achievements or activities. Now, what if somebody tried to deface them? How would they go about it? So, burden of proof. Public figures must prove actual malice meaning an attack with malicious intent, meaning that they knew that this person wasn't saying such and such thing about them as a joke or maybe being facetious in a jokingly way. They were just doing it facetiously in a malicious way to be evil, vindictive, and try to deface them or deface their character or who they are. And they would have to prove that this statement that they knew was false and published, and that it was published with reckless disregard for the truth. So they would have to prove that it was done with malicious intent, not just, that person was joking or saying allegedly. That person was saying that they know that this person is such and such or doing such and such, and that was it. Okay? So, example, politicians, celebrities, and individuals who have voluntarily and promptly participated in public controversy. That is a public figure. Now, a private figure. This is somebody that is an individual who is not in the public eye and who has not sought out a public attention. Public figures, household names like Trump, Biden, Obama, George Clooney, A-lister celebrities. Private figures, they're not going to be well known. They're not even known in the household name. They're just somebody that is not in the public eye or who has not sought out public attention. They're just trying to stay under the radar. But what if somebody went after a private figure? Then what do they do? Well, a private figure generally needs only prove negligence on the part of the defaming party, meaning they must demonstrate the defendant was careless or sloppy in determining the truth of the statement. Meaning it's probably going to be easier for them because all they have to do is say, well, here's a YouTube video of this person saying such and such about me, making alleged false claims about me. They weren't allegating or saying allegedly this person does this. They said that this person said that I did this, and that would probably be good enough proof for them to have a defacement case against that person. An example, ordinary individuals who are not involved in public controversy or have not achieved widespread fame or attention. Now, what about somebody like me? What am I? I would be what's called a limited purpose public figure or a limited public figure. A limited public figure is someone who has thrusted themselves into a specific public controversy, like politics, for me, to influence its outcome. They have become prominent within that particular controversy, but may not be well known generally. Meaning, that I'm not well known, but people know who I am. They know that I'm out there, but I'm not public. Like A-lister celebrities, politicians, musicians, things like that. But what if a limited purpose public figure is being defaced? How do they go about it? A limited public figure, like public figures, must prove actual malice, meaning with malicious intent that person was saying about them, that was actually malicious. That wasn't just alleged or allegating. They were doing it by saying that to be infactual and incorrect about you without proof or any black and whites to show that you are that. In defacement cases, basically in defacement cases like that, they have to prove, I would have to prove what this is being said about me, and I would have to then go about it the way that I would need to, legally. So an example, what is a limited purpose public figure? Individuals who actively participate in public controversies like activists or those who make statements about specific issues according to a legal blog. So that's basically what it is. The difference is right there. But how does one become private to limited purpose? What is that? So somebody that goes from being a very private figure to not well known starts doing politics, like me. I was at one point a private figure, and then I went into being public or limited purpose public figure, meaning that my content was basically talking about controversial stuff about public figures. I started talking about, for example, politicians, A-lister celebrities like P. Diddy, musicians, stuff like that. That's how you become that. What is the hardest thing about becoming a limited purpose public figure? The hardest thing about it is that we do have to mind our P's and Q's and know that we are being watched at all times. Even though we may not be watched by the government or whatever, whether or not we are or may not be watched by them, we still have to mind our P's and Q's and watch our behaviors. We have to make sure that when we say certain things about celebrities that we're not trying to be malicious towards them. We can say, for example, allegedly Joe Biden is a C3P file, right? We can't say he is a pedophile. We have to say he's an alleged C3P file, or he has behaviors like an alleged C3P file, or certain things in that degree. We have to be factually, statistically careful about what we say. We have to definitely be factual, but we have to be careful with how we proceed our wording. A limited purpose public figure, unlike a private figure, yes, a private figure still has to be careful with what they say and how they perceive themselves to be, but they are not really in the eye of the general public, so they can't be really scrutinized. They can't be criticized. They can't be touched. They have to be left alone. Well, conservative, what if a limited purpose public figure sees a private figure making a video about scrambled eggs and they want to help that video? How do they go about doing that? So I've had cases like that before where I have had to ask permission from the private figure to use their video. and tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to use their video for. I'm going to just do a video where I'm going to talk about how you made scrambled eggs and what the process is step by step, agreeing with you, or maybe giving you different ideas by saying different things. Oh, maybe I wouldn't add that in there, I would add something else. You have to ask permission, but you also have to be very open with knowing that a lot of their stuff is not public generally, so that means that you probably wouldn't be able to use their stuff because you would have to either get a written consent form saying that you have permission for it, or a legal form probably signed by a legal lawyer saying that they are allowing you to do it. So a limited purpose public figure and a private figure do have somewhat of a safety net. But when it comes to a public figure, you can talk about them. You can make videos on them. You can say, I disagree with them because they're allegedly such and such bad cooks and they don't know how to make scrambled eggs. I don't like how they make scrambled eggs because their scrambled eggs look like it's nasty, and I've tried it before and it tastes like dog shit. Probably wouldn't say that, but you know what I mean, though. You generally can talk about them easily and openly. Private figures, you can't do that. Limited purpose public figures, you can, but kind of can't, to a degree. You don't have to ask permission generally, like when it comes to people like Trump or Tom Hanks or A-lister celebrities. You don't have to ask their permission to talk about them. You can go for it. It's fair game. But how hard is it to go from a private figure to a limited purpose public figure? It's not really hard. Generally, you can do it easily just by going into like politics or talking about celebrities or getting into controversial topics like BLM, the LGBTQIA+, the Democrats. It's pretty simple to get into it, but once you get into it, then you're not going to be able to go back into that private figure life. You're going to basically continue to be that limited purpose public figure life for life, unless you change. But most of the time, if you continue to go with that, then you will always be that. What is the day in the life of somebody who is an alleged limited purpose public figure? Generally, the day of the life of us is normal, what everyone else does. We just make content, we talk about our stuff, and that's it. We live our life. There's nothing really different. Only difference is that, again, we're not well-known, like household names, like politicians, A-lister celebrities, but maybe we do have a little bit of name for ourselves and reputation on certain platforms that we are known for talking about, like me, politics, Dip, things like that, celebrities, people like allegedly P. Diddy, you know, that shit going on. We typically don't have anything different than any other person, but only different off camera. Some people may be different than on camera people. What is the fun thing about being a limited purpose public figure? Well, the fun part about it is that you get to have a lot more attention directed towards you. You get people that may agree with you or disagree with you, but it's fun because at the end of the day, you get to see other people's opinions and viewpoints and points of views. And you get to enjoy the life that is about, talking about celebrities, letting people know what is going on in the world. That's kind of the fun part. The hardest part about it is it gets tiring and draining very quickly. I get drained pretty quickly doing a lot of this. But at the end of the day, when it comes to people like us, we don't really live much of a different life than you do. It's just only different. We don't get asked for autographs and stuff like that, and girls allegedly trying to throw pantyhose at us like some public figure celebrities and politicians do, to name a few. But that's okay though. We get to have fun with it, but it does burn out very quickly because a lot of the times that we talk about certain things, it's hard because we like it, but we want to do other things just as well, so you have to keep that in mind. How fast do we get burned out doing this? It depends on who you are and how much time you spend doing these things. If talking about celebrities, like A-lister celebrities, politicians, if you do that constantly, you're going to get burned out faster. You're going to get out of that rhythm of feeling like, I've done this long enough. I think it's time to maybe do some other stuff. So you have to come up with new ideas. So being a limited purpose public figure in general, it's the fun part of doing it, talking about it a little bit, but the hardest part is trying to find something else to do after you've gotten burned out of it. So anyway, you guys, this is the difference between a private figure, limited purpose public figure, and a public figure. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe down below. And as always, I will see you guys later. Love you guys.